We're just going to get this thing going. I am Karen Wenning with Suttle-Straus, and I am so happy to be here today with my longtime friend, consultant, business partner, Jeff Dole of Mailers Haven. He and I have been working together for 20 years, and he's actually been working with Suttle-Straus even longer than that. We talk at least once a week, and we probably exchange between 15 and 20 emails each week. So we have gotten to know each other quite well. We're located in Madison, Wisconsin, and Jeff is located out in California. So we have some rather early morning conversations with him. Jeff, please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm a marketing professional. I'm a demographic targeting specialist, and I guess I'm one of the first six employees at the place where I'm at. So I've got a lot of extensive experience in doing targeting.
So we are going to start off with some very high level general questions because we have a wide array of people on this call. I have everything from franchisors to nonprofit organizations. I've got higher education on the call, as well as nonprofits that are really specific to Catholic dioceses. So we want to make sure that we're covering all the bases. So let's start at the very top. And Jeff, what are some of the mailing list demographic possibilities if I want to target a specific type of household or individual?
Ooh, that's your first question? We've got over 6,000 different data elements for all of the different compilers that we utilize. Um, Everything from model demographics up to the standard age, income, gender, marital status, that type of thing. So what we do is we find out what the goal of the campaign is and where the campaign is going to be sent to. And then we will decide who the compiler is, and we'll build a model, a data model of, the specific demographics and psychographics that are requested. And then we'll see how many people match those that or that complexion within the marketing area.
Right. So you don't just have one big mailing list that uh, Mailers Haven has compiled. You are using the right compiler based on what the product is, what the goal is of the campaign, and the specific target demographics that we're looking for.
And the marketing area, because there are strengths and weaknesses to every compiler out there. So
Sure.
we want to form fit whatever it is that we are targeting to the best possible response rates and ROI for your customer.
Perfect. And how can I target? Like, do I do that geographically, by county, by how do I do that?
We can target geographically in just about any granularity you want. If you wanted street to street mapping, we can do that. If you wanted a radius by distance, by quantity, by drive time, we can identify a marketing area and map it out for you.
And are there specific, do I have to do within a radius or do I have to do specific zip codes or could I say, hey, I want you to stop at the 405?
Yes, you can do that.
Because in
Um,
some markets, like you might have a river and you know that people aren't going to cross the river, maybe in Manhattan, or it might be like they're not going to cross the railroad tracks or something like that.
that's where drive time radii comes in very handy, because if there are natural boundaries like rivers and lakes, and a straight radius could get you to the other side of the lake where there's very little possibility of a response, and a drive time radius would not go around there because it goes by how far or how long it would take to get to a specific point of origin.
Sure. What if I wanted to target like people that have a pet in the home? Let's say I want just people that have cats in the home. How would you go about finding a list like that?
We actually have a number of demographic elements, both modeled and not modeled, that we can choose to identify people with dogs and or cats or other pets that are in the household. So these are already pre-built built demographics that identify people who have dogs or cats or other pets in the household.
So what if I wanted to say, okay, they have to have, I want them to have pets in the house, but I also want them to, have 100,000 plus income. Can I have multiple criteria?
You can have multiple criteria. You can have that don't have to be associated with one another. You can also say that they drive SUVs, or they are homeowners, or they have kids in the house as well. All of these demographics can be combined to create a model, kind of like a jigsaw puzzle. You've got a whole bunch of these different pieces that we put together to develop a complexion of the people who are going to hand your customers a check, or comply with whatever demographic or psychographic profile you want.
So that brings me to the question of, like, what is the accuracy of these demographics that we're looking for?
Well, typically we like to believe that we are the most accurate, that we are utilizing the compilers that have the most accurate and deliverable data there is. Most of the modeled demographics are in ranking. So for instance, there'll be uh, we can have a dog owner and then rank of 1 to 20, where 1 is the most likely and 20 is the least likely. If you choose 1 to 1, it's a very, very strong possibility that, or probability, that these people have a pet in the house or a dog in the house. And 20 means that they absolutely don't have a dog in the house.
What about deliverability of the mailing list that you provide, that I purchase from you?
The industry standard for deliverability for consumer data is at about 90%, because we're never operating in real time. Um, the data is constantly being updated and scrubbed and re-released. So somebody who has a dog today might not have a dog tomorrow. And what we will guarantee is that like 94% of at least 94% of the data will be accurate and deliverable. And typically we see rates of deliverability and accuracy being much higher than that.
Oh, and I can attest to that because we track deliverability on all of the pieces that we send out. And typically it's 99 to 100% deliverable with your list. And I know that we can't guarantee those numbers, but I've never seen below 98% deliverability on any list that we've purchased from you.
We scrub the compilers scrub the data at least once a month as part of their data hygiene processes. They go through what's known as NCOA, where it's matched against the National Change of Address database. They go through the prison pander file, the death suppression file. All of these different data hygiene processes develop the most accurate and deliverable data there is.
Jeff,
Sure.
can you explain, you mentioned modeled versus non-modeled lists. Can you explain what you mean by that?
Sure. Let's say you're looking for verified homeowners. Well, the county recorder and assessor's office transmits data, or they can transmit data to the compilers, where the compilers have actually seen the deed and they know that someone is a homeowner. That's a verify. That's not modeled. That's an actual demographic. And then there are people who are suffering from migraines. And that is a propensity element. An audience propensity element is built by data scientists all over the world. And what they do is they identify control groups that they know, for instance, have migraines. And they look at all of the different attributes as far as SKU information, what type of products they buy, what type of over-the-counter products they buy, what their daily activities are, things like that. And they match that complexion with other groups and see how many of those other groups have migraines based on the demographics they are able to acquire. because HIPAA will not let them go into medical records or insurance records to find out that they definitely have migraines. So the model is ranked as the as far as the propensity for someone to act or behave in a certain way. And if they buy over-the-counter medication for migraines, and they bought a sleep mask, and they have paid for some sort of services that are relevant to having a migraine, then chances are they have migraines. That would be a model.
Perfect.
Like
I'm going
how
to
the
ask you a
male,
couple. Go
I was
ahead,
just going to
Megan.
say, like the male seems to know when you're having a baby before everybody else knows you're having a baby by what you buy at Target or whatever.
Yeah, but and there are that's part of the reason that accuracy cannot be 100% because grandparents buy stuff for babies too.
Good point. Well, actually, that's a good segue into what I posted on LinkedIn this morning. If you're not connected to me on LinkedIn, I did put it in the chat. Follow me for information about mailing lists and mailing and everything along those lines. But my daughter graduated from high school on Saturday. On
Congratulations.
Tuesday, just yesterday, thank you. Um, I know it's table stakes, but for her it was a big deal. On Tuesday, so yesterday when I got home from work, there is a letter addressed to her with all the variable data specific to Kate and the year she graduated, and that she was over 17 years old, a personalized QR code, variable data. They did an amazing job, this company did, in targeting her. Jeff, how did they get her information so fast?
Did she buy a cap and gown?
Yes.
Did she get senior photos?
Oh, yeah. Oh, she's a girl.
Okay, so she got senior photos from a professional photographer who can sell your information. She got a cap and gown from a company that could sell that information. If you've posted anything on social media regarding the graduation, that is also public information. So any way that a data compiler can acquire information, they will. Social media feeds, web searches, all of that stuff is on the table.
So
So,
an 18-year-old teenage girl, you bet she was posting during graduation.
oh, of course. And there's stuff called trigger data too. So trigger data would be if there's let's say a geofence or something to that effect,
Mm-hmm.
where when somebody enters a specific place, it their telephone pings back, and they are now within a certain area, and that itself can also be a triggering factor for age or for propensity to purchase something or whatever. So yes, we can get the compilers get information from every possible legal source they can.
Got it. So let's talk about my own mailing list. So let's say I have a list of customers, and I don't really, let's say I'm a newer business and I don't really know that much about my customers. Could I send you a list of my customers, and could you tell me what their demographic criteria is, like what they look like, so that I can go out and target other people that look like them too?
That's a primary fundamental aspect of marketing, and we do that. Yes, there are a couple of different ways to do it. One of them is called lookalike, where a customer's list is appended with all known demographics, and then we can identify the marketing area and the market penetration, the Z scale, everything with respect to that on a lookalike report. I will caution that you really need to have a large list in order for this to be accurate, because the system is going to aggregate all of this information and find out the commonalities of the demographics and psychographic information. And then there is data regression. Data regression is a similar function, but what data regression does is once it appends all of these different demographics, over 6,000 of them, they test out hundreds of thousands of combinations of these, and the ones that are the most common amongst the list rise to the top of the lift chart. And that is, you don't get to know what that secret sauce is with the combinations that they choose, but then you can acquire data based on that lift chart.
So could I so I can send you my list and we can then figure out what the demographics are of my customers so that we can go out and search for other customers like them.
Exactly.
What about appending? Like if I have a list, can you append emails to it or phone numbers to my current list?
Sure, we can append phone numbers, although I don't necessarily recommend doing that. There's over 91% of the country is on the do not call registry, which is not to say that you'd only get like 9% of the phones. What it's saying is that 91% of the country doesn't want to hear from you. So it's not a great idea to get phones. Emails, on the other hand, yes, we can get them appended. We can also run complete email campaigns.
And like when I buy a mailing list from you, how many times can I mail to that list?
Well, first of all, you're never ever buying a mailing list because of the federal government. The federal government they have a strong hand in this because there's lobbying going on for and against the collection of personal or private information. So the government decided that the compilers will always own the data. And what they'll do is they can rent it for either single use, where you can mail to one address one time, or multiple use for a year, and where you can mail to it 15 times a day if you want, but only for a period of 1 year, so that anyone who gets on a do not call or a do not mail registry can be assured that their name's not going to be on a list after a period of 1 year. So to enforce that, what the compilers do is they put seed addresses in all of their lists, and those seeds are coded for usage and content. So by usage, they will know how many times you've mailed to a specific address. And content means if the campaign was for a shoe store, and then 2 months down the line they get a hit for someone selling Viagra, someone's going to hear from them.
Right. So for my friends on the call, that's why we never give out the mailing list to you. That's why we ask you to send us your customer list after a campaign is completed, so that we can compare that back to the original mailing list that we sent to and figure out the conversions or the people who responded in one way or another. So for the people on the call that may be along the lines of charitable causes and things like that, I want to break down a list that we recently rented, and I'm going to tell you about the criteria that we were seeking, and then I'm going to have Jeff explain to us what semcasting is. So for this particular healthcare system, we were looking for community involvement, being charitable causes, children's causes, health, and religious causes, or logic. We wanted homeowners with an income of 75,000 plus. That's a combined household income. We wanted them to have a charitable giving scores for semcasting, and the charitable giving score needed to be 60 to 99. Jeff, tell us what that means, semcasting.
Semcasting Genalytics is a data company that collects and they actually run data regression as well. And what they do is they have a bunch of data scientists who can identify people who give more than the average. So, for instance, if you have a campaign that you've run, a donor campaign, where the aggregate average of donations is $50. So the average gift that someone is giving them is $50. The charitable giving score can identify those people who gave more than the $50. And then what we do is look at 60 to 99 being probably somewhere around between 40 and 77% more than $50 in that particular case. So community involvement, that is demonstrated donations to specific causes. What you were explaining before, those different causes, children's causes, health causes, things of that nature. Those are demonstrated donations. These are people, they know these people have given to these organizations. Then when you piggyback on top of that the semcasting element that identifies the charitable giving, then we can find, yes, these people give to children's charities and all of this other stuff, but they're also giving more than the average by X amount of percentage. Now you're looking at the cream of the crop as far as those people that you are reaching. You know that they are giving more on an average than most of the people that are for whatever campaigns they're contributing to.
Megan's raising her hand. Go ahead, Megan.
So if I was a college, I guess, with a large alumni database, could we run that kind of analysis across my database to find out who would be the best potential givers among my alumni?
So you're talking about adding the charitable giving score as a statistical element in a lookalike report?
Yeah, I guess if I gave you my database, could you tell me who
Yep.
the best givers are in there?
I believe we can. Um, I think I have some flexibility when it comes to those elements that are looked at by a lookalike report. And if so, then yes, I could do that.
So Grace is asking, where are the giving transactions coming from, since that isn't typically publicly available?
Well, you don't believe it's publicly available, but in a lot of cases, it is publicly available. Yes, it is against the law for someone to actually go look in your checking account and things of that nature. But
A lot of
there are
websites that I give a donation to, though, it'll show up, Karen donated X amount of dollars, unless you do
yes,
it anonymously. So anytime
yes,
that you put your name in when you give a donation, that's how it's collecting that data. One of the ways.
that is one of the ways, and there are many.
So I'm going to switch gears again because I know we have a lot of Fran Dev and people that are marketing business to business on this call as well. So I want to get in a few questions for them as well. So can I do a mailing to a specific type of business?
Yes, in general business data, that is compiled based on either a standard industry classification code or SIC code or the North American Industry Classification System, which is the NAICS code. And it's a very extensive list of different types of businesses. So we can identify them by the type of businesses, by the employee size, the sales volume, when they first became a business, things of that nature.
So, and what about licensed professionals? I just want insurance adjusters in this county, or I want to get restoration companies, or as long as we know what the SIC code is, it sounds like.
Well, general business is general, very general. So as far as your remodeling contractors, things of that nature, that would come from general business data. Licensed professionals, on the other hand, would be specialty data. There we have compilers who are interrogating the licensing bureaus at the state and the county level, and we can acquire dentists and doctors and licensed insurance agents and brokers and things of that nature. But they would be different compilers than the general business, because general business is not going to collect licensing information.
And going back to my own customer list again, if I pull a customer list out of my CRM, should I have that? matched up against the National Change of Address database every time I do a mailing?
Not every time you do a mailing, but if you're going to be doing a mailing like every 3 months, a caste certificate, which comes with an NCOA, which when you're scrubbing the data, is good for 95 days. And that's so that if CDS, that division of the post office that adjusts the carrier routes and the zip code boundaries and things of that nature, if they make changes, they guarantee that they will still deliver that mail. It won't come back undeliverable if they have changed the boundary and it's a different zip
Yeah.
9 or a different carrier route or a different zip code.
Yeah. Because what percentage of the population moves annually, Jeff?
Let's see. I believe we were looking at it's like 17%,
That's what
16
I
or
thought it was too.
17% of the country moves, and only about 50 or 60% of the people who move fill out a change of address form, and then about half of those people fill it out wrong. So
Yeah, I just did this exercise for one of our customers that's we're doing a large mailing for. They had 69,000 addresses that were not good, valid, undeliverable addresses. So just the postage alone on that would have been $27,600. So just by doing that exercise, we were able to save them that in postage. Never mind the print and the mail prep and everything. I'm shocked at the number of mail pieces that I received that are, to somebody that lived in the house that I live in 20 years ago. It's unbelievable.
it's also a good idea to get walk sequence numbers on when you're scrubbing the data for like NCOA and everything before you mail to it. Having a walk sequence number on it can save a lot of postage as well.
Mhm. So I think that we are just about at time, but we can take some questions in the chat. Alternatively, or in addition, I would invite any of you on the call to put in the chat the type of mailing list that you would be looking for. And Jeff and I will go through the exercise of getting that for you. In order for us to provide that, though, there's no charge, just so you know. In order for us to provide that for you, though, we're going to need to know a geographic area. So you could give us a starting point zip code or an actual location and a radius that you want, or a drive time or specific zip codes that you want, and the demographic criteria that you'd like to target, whether that's
And
individuals who make 100,000 plus a year and have children in the homes and, have are only homeowners, or whether that's a specific type of business that you'd like us to target for you. And we can
yeah, we
get you the
always
number.
want to know what you're selling or what the purpose of the campaign is.
Good point, because that will help direct Jeff as to what is the most appropriate and accurate compiler to use for that specific target that we're going after.
Yeah, one of the questions we had submitted in advance was, how do I get a mailing list? Jeff, nobody on the line can purchase from Mailers Haven directly. Is that right?
That's correct. We only deal with people like you.
Deal with us. You have to deal with us. And that is the true statement.
It's a pleasure dealing with you.
And when Jeff retires, I have to retire at the same time, because like I said, we're friends. We talk weekly. We have tons of emails going back and forth on a daily basis.
Yes.
Well, I'm not really seeing any questions in the chat. I guess we answered all of them. I doubt it.
Oh, if they have others, they know your email address, right?
Right. They know where to find me. Anything else, Megan? Anything I forgot? Any questions I didn't ask?
Yeah, I think we hit most of them. I think.
All right.
Good.
Well, Jeff, I greatly appreciate you taking the time with us today and sharing your expertise with us. I know so many of these questions I'm asking you on a weekly basis. And while it's not just because I have a poor memory, but it's also because this information is constantly changing, right? Because
Yes.
the information that we have is based on every state's laws. So there's national laws that we have to follow, and there's also state laws that have to be followed. And we could probably spend an entire hour talking about the California Privacy Act, right?
Just that alone, and we are tested every 6 weeks on all of this stuff as well, because we can't purvey any information that would be illegal to purvey, and we're always getting questions about that. I mean, what was it, 6 months ago? People started, the compilers started removing information on military status and ethnicity
And religious
religious
affiliation.
affiliation. Yes, so and we have to stay on top of all of that stuff.
Absolutely. And Caitlin's asking a question. And Caitlin, there are no silly questions. Can we provide emailing lists too? And the answer to that is yes. We can't buy just an email list by itself, but we can buy it in conjunction with the direct mail. So I have many clients that do this. They want to start their email campaign before. We're not going to get 100% of the email addresses. They'll start their email campaign before, and then we'll go ahead and drop that mailing for them as well. Additionally, I think most of the people on this call know that we do connected mail, which combines social and digital with direct mail to get a greater response. Jeff and I were talking before this call about what an incredible and effective method that is to get 8 to 10 touches on a direct mail campaign versus that one time only that it arrives in homes. So when you take that omni-channel approach and you do a connected mail campaign and then you buy the emails on top of that, yes, you're really taking everything that you have in your toolbox and you're putting it into a campaign. Is it going to cost a little bit more? Yes. Is it going to deliver better results? 100%.
Yeah, and there was a study that was just published by the USPS regarding informed delivery, which is actually the second platform that you're going to be. If something's associated with informed delivery, you are getting a preview of what's going to be in your mailbox,
Yeah,
and that they
that's a
have
part.
they're
That's a part of our.
demonstrating. I'm sorry.
That's one of the touch points in the connected mail campaign, and we
Yeah,
find
and
that 50% of the people on the mailing list that you provide us are signed up for informed delivery, and not only that, but 60% of those emails that are sent to those people are opened, so they're seeing those ads.
yes, they are seeing them, and they are the response rates have been verified at over 15+% more than average based on the fact that they've got informed delivery. So that's enormous in the marketing world.
Agreed. Jeff, I can't thank you enough. I maybe we can do this again sometime. This was fun.
Yeah, let's do it again.
I'll have more complex questions for you next time.
All right, that
Yeah, make
works.
it harder.
Appreciate you so much.
Okay, thank you very much for having me.
Ciao for now.
Hi, everybody.
Take care.